Tess,
Yeah.
this one has been a long one in the making.
My goodness, Keith, we were busy maybe. Like it was so many things going on personally and professionally, so exciting things going on across the planet and the world. We've been working on a lot and we just have to ask for forgiveness.
And not to the audience, to the actual people we did the episode with.
I know, right? It's like we mean well, we do, we really do. And
Yeah,
then
well,
and
yeah.
then as they it look, as people keep saying life keeps lifing, which
Oh,
I don't know where the hell that came from.
but,
But
it's one of those things where, it's not like we were slacking. I,
no,
th- I think at one point you were on the road for over a month.
yeah.
We were on the road for over a month. And then there was kid
And then
going to
there were cities when we
college
were
and
actually together and we thought we could do and it didn't
no,
work.
no, because we're busy. But, so what do we have on tap today?
All right, all right. So there's this lovely company that has just popped out of nowhere in my mind. It's so cool. It's called RoomRite. And we had the opportunity to sit down with Teresa and Michael and kind of talk to them about the wonderful things that they're doing for our industry. People are going to be like, room right, it's just rooms. But no, they've
No,
got some really cool things of where they are really thinking about the economic development of meeting planners and revenue generating opportunities for meeting planners. And that usually is not the case. All the other industries have opportunities, but we never do. So. Keith, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty cool. Should we get to it?
Yes, let's
Let's
get
get
to
to
it.
it.
Boom. Welcome, Michael and Teresa. Michael, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about Room Right. Teresa, I'd like you to follow up because you know how us as women are. They always forget a whole lot. Father's Day was just yesterday, so they're on a certain kind of high right now, so we've got to do our cleanup methods.
Well,
Is
what are
that
you saying about
possible?
guys?
Keithy, you know what that's like.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Michael.
Actually, I do.
Yeah, so RoomRite was actually created out of a personal and professional experience with Teresa and I. Just a difficulty finding rooms in a certain time of year, and when there was little inventory available, it's either hotels are sold out and or the prices are outrageous. And so I started to look into attrition and seeing what rooms were available through room blocks, and read several reports where you know attrition was in 50% for citywides and lower for smaller events, but it really pointed out a need where planners were going through this experience of having to eat the cost of these rooms, or their clients were. And so we wanted to create a marketplace similar to StubHub, where if you had an asset and you couldn't use it, you could resell it to somebody else who did need it. And so that's what RoomRite is. It's a marketplace where planners can resell the excess inventory from their room block to other travelers or other groups at their contracted rate. So that way the planner's avoiding the attrition costs and the buyer's getting access to the rate that they would be able to get access to anywhere else, and in some cases even inventory that's not available anywhere else. So that's what RoomRite is.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, Teresa, as you were thinking about it, tell us a little bit about you all's background, right, in the industry. I know Michael said a little bit, you all were coming upon these challenges and issues, but what really sent it over to the top where you picked a tech, which I'm excited about because it's so simple and easy, that said, oh gosh, I've got to solve this problem because I don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, Michael, so he is here in Florida and with a local incubator through the University of Central Florida. And
Okay.
I had just brought to market a different product, but I still had the logistics for on-site events kind of in my back pocket. And Michael and I would have conversations, and he had just gone through, like he just mentioned, kind of looking at the research and it was interesting because in a serendipitous way, as we started talking about this, I just got the biggest smile because I had just gone through that as a meeting planner. And what I mean by that is we had a block in Mexico, and it was an incentive group. And as we know, sometimes incentive we don't know until the end, until like 30 days prior, who's going, who won. They ended up in a small attrition situation, and what ended up happening is we had another client call and they were interested in going to Cancun, but it would be within the next 30 days. And I said, hey, we've got an opportunity for you. So we pulled the two together. It all worked out. The block filled. And we had our first test right there as we were first, as we had our first discussion. And so that was really how it was born. And from there, we started to meet, I would say, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week and have the whiteboard out, and we were just mapping it out from a hotelier perspective. And that was one of the things I mentioned to Michael. We definitely want to be a tool for the meeting planner, for the event professional, but we want this to be a unified approach. We want the hotel to have an advantage as well, because we already know that the hotels what they would be coming back with, well, we're just going to charge the attrition. What do we have to lose? And so we wanted to build something to where now they'll have a unified approach. And what I mean by that is now they'll have another resource, they'll have another contact, another meeting planner, they can upsell, they can have food and beverage. We've got the meeting planner or the meeting space available. And at that point, we started reaching out to advisors on the hotelier side, so that we could have a lot of clean perspectives and prior to us bringing this to market.
Well,
And
I
before
think,
you say something, Keith, really quickly, I wanted to tell the audience the reason why I asked them to give us the background is because this is yet another example of how one of us can solve problems for
yeah.
us. Lots of times, event tech companies are people who are outside of our industry providing solutions for us, but these are people who are inside our industry providing solutions. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, and I was gonna say, for the hotel, right? It also avoids bad blood with the planner, right? The planner contracted for the rooms. We know that, right? And say they only sell 100 rooms and they only sell 50. If it comes to an attrition point, they're still going to be ticked off, no matter, right? Just because you're losing that much money. And it was really funny because we met at EventTech Live. And I was walking the show
Yeah.
floor, and I started talking to Michael, and I was like, "Oh, what do you guys do?" And literally, I had a client that was right in the middle of $1 million attrition problem, which, by the way, it got solved contractually. But at that moment, it was, oh my God, I need this,
Uh,
right? And
uh,
and so it is one of those tools, because I think for a lot of planners, getting your block out there and selling out into the regular world, most of the avenues that existed before RoomRite, they always seemed a little sketchy. Right, and with this, it's something that we're all used to, right? So kind of tell us a little bit about the features, because I've obviously been on RoomRite, and it's one of those things where it's straightforward to me anyway. It seems like a StubHub type of, which, Michael, that was your analogy, and it's very apt, right? It's kind of that type of a feel where oh, I have a ticket, here's a ticket, and oh, I need a ticket, I buy the ticket, and then you guys take a little bit in the middle. So kind of go through the features for everybody to let them know, how RoomRite works.
So yeah, as a buyer, it works like any other OTA, like an Expedia or Booking, where you put in your destination or your range of dates, and then you can see what's available. There's also a feature on our website where if you're a little bit flexible on the timing or the destination, you can just get some inspiration about some different options. So on the buyer side, it's very familiar to what you would use anywhere else. On the reseller side, or to list your block, it's, if you have your contract in front of you, it can take 5 minutes to put your listing together. All we ask for is the name of the venue, whether that's a cruise ship or a hotel, the start date of the block, the end date of the block, your contract cutoff date, and what that does is it removes those rooms or the listing from the marketplace, so we're not offering rooms that are no longer available. We ask for the type of room, your contracted rate for those rooms, and any resort fees or taxes that are associated with the property. Once you put all that information in, it gets submitted, we review the information, and then approve it, and it goes on our marketplace for others to buy.
And I'd like to add as well that the seller there's a data available to them, so they'll have their own dashboard, so they're able to see how there's progression in their rooms in real time.
Absolutely, and that's an important point because there may be a situation where you put rooms up early and then rooms start picking up or demand starts picking up, and you can actually, whatever hasn't sold, you can take back and remove it from the marketplace so you can give it to your attendees. So it's very flexible that way.
Well, or I can add more to it as well.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm getting a little nervous, then
exactly.
So you all are a peace of mind for me, right?
Yes.
You're my partners in peace.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And our logo, there's a big smile, and that's why we're your friend.
Yeah, well, and it's and the pulling back of rooms and being able to do that, I think, is really key for planners because, and I don't know who just mentioned this, but, we've seen a real big change in the way that attendees operate since COVID, right? It used to be everybody planned, if they had an event in March, they started planning in July, right, and booking everything. But now people are starting to book as they get a little bit closer. They're waiting till that last possible moment. So for planners that are listening, this is a great opportunity. If you are, if you're, 3 months out, 12 weeks or 8 weeks, and you're getting nervous, you can put them on RoomRite. But as you get closer, if you start to see pickup happening, maybe you pull some back, but not all of them because nobody wants to get nailed with attrition.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you want to think about that because, yeah, you're right. The mentality of travelers these days, as it relates to meetings and events, I think the mentality is similar like transient. I guess I can go now. All the stars have aligned, so I can go. I kind of think about it, I put a push pin in it, and I'm going to make that decision much, much later. So we've got to have partners in peace to be able to help us along the way. So tell us the worst case scenario and how you were maybe able to solve that problem. I know you gave us the one from Mexico, which Mexico, you've got to have a lot of paperwork in place too for you to be able to receive it. So, can you tell me like a success story from and not necessarily a monetary perspective, but what rates do the planners get back? How does that? I know planners are out there saying, "Oh gosh, what does that do with my contracting? Is that legal? How is this really truly helping? Those kinds of things for all of the people who are paranoid."
So the worst case, and this has actually happened, I think, maybe twice now, where a planner will find out about us and want to sell the rooms, but it's a week before their arrival date. And one, they probably don't have the rooms available because of the hotel's probably taking them back. But even if they did have the rooms available, a week is really not a whole lot of time for us to try and find someone else to buy them. So getting ahead of one, the contract cutoff date, but also giving us enough time to find someone to buy those rooms and market those rooms out. So don't wait until the last minute, especially if you don't have access to those rooms. I would say that's the worst case scenario. On the best case scenario, like Teresa mentioned, that it was just the perfect match, the number of rooms that were available and the number of people interested in buying those rooms. So that was probably the best case scenario. But in terms of things or questions or concerns that people might have, one, always check your contract so you know when those rooms are available to you. Sometimes there's a no resale clause. If there is a no resale clause, we encourage you to still speak with us, because what we'll do is then we'll go back to the hotel and explain some of the benefits that the hotel receives from our platform by allowing us to, quote unquote, resell those rooms. So one of the benefits of the hotel is the hotel could actually add or require a minimum hotel food and beverage spend, so in the form of food of a credit to the buyer. So now they're making additional revenue off those rooms that they wouldn't otherwise make. So that's one benefit. And then Teresa, as I'm sure you're going to share, there's some other benefits in terms of relationships and future business opportunities. So Teresa, you want to touch on that?
Sure, yeah, and I think Keith, you touched on that as well, and the importance of keeping the relationship strong between the planner and the hotel, because oftentimes what will happen if you run into an attrition situation, as we all know, the negotiation is, well, we need you to come back, within the next 12 months or within the next 2 years, and then that leaves a little bit of friction between the planner and the hotel, not feeling handcuffed now, and the hotel wins. And actually, as Michael and I have been mapping out the strategy and talking to the destination marketing companies, organizations, it's a win all the way from the city down. So the city wins as if we don't run into an attrition situation, the hotel wins, both meeting planners win, and of course the attendee wins. And so that's really rewarding to us, because we really want to be a win for everybody involved, including that relationship between the hotel. And now the hotel has a new relationship with another meeting planner, which is a new lead source.
Well, and I think one thing for a lot of planners, especially planners who aren't really familiar with contracts, right? And there are plenty. There are planners that are coming up all the time that need to know things. And one of the most simple things is contracts are contracts. They are not set in stone. So if you go back, to your hotel and say, guys, we're in a pickle here. We have this great service that we can use, but we have a no resale clause. 99% of the time, the hotel is actually going to allow you to do it. Hotels put that clause in their contracts because they don't want you going out and selling it to Spring Breakers Gone Wild, right? Or something along those lines. They want to make sure that their reputation is solid. And I think that when you take a product like RoomRite to the hotel, they're going to be like, oh yeah. But one thing that I was thinking about earlier and was for planners, planners have to know this is an amazing tool, but it's not magic, right? If you booked 1,000 rooms in Fargo in February and it is now December, you may not be able to resell them.
We'll try. We'll do our best.
Although there is the story of the group that if they met their sales numbers, they were going to Rio or somewhere crazy. If they didn't make their sales number, they all had to go on a trip, but it was to Fargo. And they actually ended up having such a great time in Fargo that's actually now their incentive destination. So just throwing some love to Fargo, because Fargo is a good town.
It is a good town.
Just not in February.
So I was thinking about how you all could be even a partners in peace to planners who only do sourcing. That's all they do all day long is sourcing, and how you could be their secret weapon on helping their client add value to their clients of what their services that they're actually offering, kind of in a different kind of way. So have you thought about that, or?
Yes, so there's a couple of options there. So one, we could be seen as an extension of what they're doing. So if they're having trouble moving rooms in Fargo, put them on our platform. And what the beauty of our platform is, we go beyond just selling to other groups or other planners. There's also the consumer side. So now we're opening up that market from just groups to the transient market. So that's one way. The other thing that I'd love Teresa to share with the group is, or the listeners, is our affiliate program.
Man.
So what that does is it rewards you for helping others to sell those rooms or list those rooms. So Teresa, I'd love you to talk more about that.
Sure, I'd love to. The other thing I'd like to touch on is, to your point, Tess, yes, as a meeting planner, there's an RFP process, right, that goes back. We have to wait. and we're checking in with the hotels. Can you get us back a proposal? The beauty of this is everything's already been negotiated. So I did want to point that out. And then to Michael's point, yes, as we were talking through, how can we help get the word out by rewarding the meeting planners? Because as meeting planners, your income ebbs and flows, especially if you're a third party. You know, it comes and it goes. Now, if you're with a corporation, it may not be as interesting. But for a commissioned meeting planner, we have an affiliate program. And so essentially the way that it works is you'll receive your own code, and you pass that code along to anyone that might be running into a situation. And anytime they run into a situation and they end up selling a portion of their rooms, then we will pay the meeting planner that gave the code out a commission. And so we look at that as our sales arm to help us getting the word out while rewarding everybody in a cyclical manner. So we're excited about kicking that off for sure.
And
We've had a lot
you
of
know,
great feedback.
I think programs like that are actually really beneficial, right? You know, because
Yeah.
you know there are those in the industry that would say, well, you know, they're going to get a kickback, and so they're just promoting it because you know they're going to make money. Well, it's not enough money to ruin your career, right? By doing right, but it is enough that you would actually want to put forward good products. You know, we were actually talking about, Tess and I yesterday were talking about event registration systems, right? And there was one I was an affiliate of years ago, and I used to make $300 a month, right? Just by promoting that product. And it was one that I used. It was a great product. Because I wasn't going to share something that was a horrible thing, because that's just going to kick back on me anyway. So I am all
Exactly.
pro affiliate programs.
And I totally agree. Like our whole industry has to change its mentality. We were slow to innovate, to take on technology as a whole. We actually can be very prudish to me as an industry and very judgmental as an industry, which actually to me led to how tragic we got hit as overall in 2020. Other industries were able to kind of bounce back much quicker than us and not get hit quite as hard. And I think it's because we don't innovate as fast, we're not as open minded, and we don't embrace success for each other as we're trying to help each other. We're always, oftentimes, not saying that from an individual basis, but overall persona is we hoard things. We try to keep things to ourselves. Let me do things on our own and by myself. Well, that's just not how life works nowadays. People are incentivized. People do receive various different things for the things that they do, but it doesn't have to always tie with them not telling the truth about the products and the things that they're sharing. So,
Such a great point, Tess.
That is a really good point. So what are some? Wait, and I haven't seen any labels of AI slapped on your product.
no, I haven't heard. I haven't heard any of that at all.
So,
It's
so,
coming.
but
Oh,
I,
but it's coming.
but I will ask. You know, is it actually coming out? Like so many, there are so many products in the event tech space that say have AI stapled on the box, but it's not really, right? You know, do you have anything with AI, or is it something that isn't needed in this case because it's a pretty straightforward transaction? But you know, one of the things here I'm talking too much. You know, one of the things is, you know, AI is great for discovery, right? So you know, are there plans to do anything with that? Are you doing anything with that?
So we're not doing anything with it at the moment. I agree, it is everywhere right now. I think part of it is marketing. Part of it is that it's it's the frontier of it. So we're just seeing a lot of it being done. So I think in terms of where we could use it, we've sat down and discussed how we could implement it. Nothing is available yet. So right now, no. But it's internally we're discussing it.
Yeah, no, and fair enough. And go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I wish Tom, our Chief Technology Officer, was on the call, because I think he would have a great time answering that question. We are going to be starting, right, Michael? We'll start with having the chat, up on our site. The
Yeah,
basics.
that's what I was kind of thinking. Those kinds of
Yeah,
things, different things.
but it's also one of those things where you guys actually just said, you know what, it's not, this is in this product, it's not essential, right? It's not what it's needed right now. There are other things we can do. What does the future hold, right? As we come up, I know we're coming up on our time, but what does the future hold? What are some of the things? Like, I know that you started offering, cruises now, beyond hotels. So what are some of the other things that you guys have coming for the future?
So yeah, you touched on it right there. So we launched with the focus purely on hotels, and then as of I think last week we expanded into cruises. So that's the next market that we're stepping into. What we've on the hotel side, I mean, it's different for the type of event and where it's located, but usually attrition is around 10% on the hotel side, where on the cruise, it's closer to 25%. So there's a lot more need on that side. So we want to be able to accommodate planners and groups on both sides of the industry there.
Well, I can't wait for everyone to get to actually see the product, because it was very easy to use. I had a situation myself that an event that's coming up in September. I have a block in New York City, which should fly off the shelves because I was very proud of how I negotiated that rate. But nonetheless, I don't know, because it's on the social side, not on the meeting side. And you know how people are when it comes to training. They're worse, and they don't understand anything we do. So they're not trained. They don't know that you need to get your stuff now, any of that. So I actually literally said to myself, is that it? That's all I had to do? Really? Like, I was waiting for the trick to come and the mic to kind of drop around. I was like, But no, it was very, very simple and easy. So I can't wait for them to see it.
Well, and it's amazing how much, like, Michael, after you and I talked at EventTech Live, and I went back and I said to the client, I'm like, guys, if this goes horribly, we have this in our back pocket. And the calm, right? They know they could sell, they may not sell, but there was we have options.
Exactly.
And
As I call
because
you, all have a nickname now, that Partners in Peace. I'm sorry, that's what you are.
I love that
Yeah.
nickname.
Love it.
But it's one of those things where knowing that you have a lot of times when planners are facing massive attrition, panic sets in, because it can doom an organization, right? And just knowing that you have an option that would help allows you to step back from the ledge and actually think through what you're going to do. And I think that alone is worth the cost of admission.
It's a really good point, in that is one of our strategies in talking with the hotels. And let this be a tool for you to offer to any of your groups that fall into an attrition situation, because now they've got more of a consultative approach. Even if nothing were to sell, that group's going to appreciate the fact that they were trying to help them look out for their best interest.
Exactly. And it's less stress. And I think it would drive more business to them, because there are so many groups of people who are scared to do contracts with hotels because it becomes fearful about locking in and not knowing, with everyone's decision being so late. So Michael and Teresa, I want you to have a couple seconds to have our last minute thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers and listeners, please.
Yeah, all four of them.
Sure. Well, for all four of you. So the one thing I'll quickly share is attrition is kind of something that we don't want any planner or any group to be in. We understand we make our living off of it, but we don't want anybody to go through it. And to both your points, if you are in that place or it's heading in that direction, we want to be a tool to help you. And also, don't feel like it's something that your group or you as a planner are experiencing. Globally, every year, about $21 billion in attrition fees is collected. So it happens all the time, all around the world. And from planners just coming up to seasoned planners, it's just, you never know what's going on in the market that might cause it. So don't feel like it's something that that to be embarrassed by. It happens everywhere all the time. And when it does, go to RoomRite.io.
T, anything you'd like to add?
I think Michael wrapped it up well. Just know that this tool was built by meeting planners and hoteliers for meeting planners and hoteliers, and we really are a resource that, to your point, Tess, we want to offer you peace, and we're here for you. So we're excited to hear from all of you. You can go onto the website that Michael mentioned and schedule a demo. It's a real quick demo as you experience, Tess, 15 minutes. We'll walk you through. It's free. There's no reason why. I mean, what do you got to lose? So come on over and see what we can do.
Yeah, and actually, even if you don't have hotels in an attrition problem, go and check it out. That because you will get there someday. So you might as well be forewarned.
Know it fast.
Have your knowledge.
You're like that goes in that tool belt, definitely.
Yep.
Thank
Tess,
you all
bring us
so
home.
much. Thank you all so much. We're glad to have you today, and we need to have you back on pretty soon as a follow-up.
Thanks for joining us this week on the EventTech Pull Up. Make sure to visit our website, eventtechpullup.com. That's eventtechpullup.com. And find us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube so you never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating or simply tell a friend about our brand of crazy. That would be amazing. Interested in becoming a guest? Check out the application on our website. If you would like one or both of us for your next event or in-house training, please email us at tech@eventtechpullup.com. That's tech@eventtechpullup.com.